Today we're here to talk about market volatility. I'm Shayan Shakeel. This is Eddie Taylor. Welcome to Inside AB. So Eddie, back in January you spoke to Stephen Rees, the Managing Director and Senior Investment Advisor at JP Morgan. What did he have to say?
Yeah, well, this guy, very interesting chap, and he was actually quite bullish on US stocks. He was saying that 2018 wouldn't be as good as 2017, but there was still quite a lot of upside, particularly in the light of the US tax bill that had just come into play, which had slashed corporate tax rates back to 21%.
Right.
He was basically saying that for the first half of the year, he wanted his clients to actually have more exposure to US equities. And while there weren't going to be the gains that there were in 2017, there was still quite a lot of gains to be had, and he was looking at double-digit growth.
More exposure to US equities, but then there was a crash that happened.
Then this little thing happened at the end of January, beginning of February. There was a very, very, very quick and very sharp sell-off of 10% on the Dow Jones, which is basically correction territory.
Right.
And that was triggered by two things, really. It was basically a lot of people wanting to lock in the gains that they'd made at the back end of 2017, the beginning of 2018.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it'd risen 8% the Dow at the beginning of 2018 in less than a month.
A bit too exuberant.
Yeah, so the gains were really sharp, so people were looking to lock those in, really. And then that was coupled with a sudden rise in interest rates. The US Treasury $10 note got to the edge of 3%. The 30-year note blew through that 3% line, and that was kind of seen as a little bit of problems in the market to do with inflation. So a lot of people kind of just taking their money off the table and looking for safe havens.
Okay, so what about now? Has JP Morgan's view changed at all?
No, actually, he was actually advising clients buy the dips. He was looking at the fundamentals rather than the technicals. He was insistent this was a technical sell-off.
Right.
So that was about, the charts and the graphs pointing in certain ways, and the combination of the 8% SPY versus the interest rates led to kind of a technical issue that led to the sell-off. But he was looking at the fundamentals, and the fundamentals were still that earnings were strong, and we were in the middle of the Q4 earnings season back when this happened. The earnings were strong, the cash flows and the revenues of the main players were still strong, so there was no reason. It was a real overreaction. So he's actually saying buy the dips, and we're already seeing the year to date that the S&P is actually 4% above what it was at the start of the year. So he's kind of been proven right on a longer term level.
But inflation's growing up as well, so that must be a bit of a worry.
Yeah, he's not denying that, and he's basically saying that inflation is going to become more of a factor at the end of the year, beginning into 2019. But he's also reminding everybody a couple of things. One, that we're in historically low inflation levels for the last sort of 5 or 6 years. So this is kind of, we're at abnormal levels, so it's nothing to be really that concerned or scared about. The other thing is, if inflation is driven by growth, then that's good for equities, because equities are the companies behind the equities are the ones that are powering that growth. So again, equities are still a place that he's going to see. If he says one thing, he's probably saying you're going to get a little bit more exposure to commodities. So that's looking at agriculture stocks, energy stocks, and precious metals.
Okay, so double-digit growth for equities, and what about gold? You think it's going to go up?
That's actually the one thing that I managed to get Stephen to kind of sort of change his mind on a little bit. He actually came in saying that his target for the end of the year was going to be 12.75 for gold, with the action in the market, inflation coming in. He hasn't actually officially changed that figure, but he's thinking there's probably going to be more to the upside.
About 13.50, you think?
If you say so, Shay. Even Stephen Rees probably wouldn't argue with that, I would say.
All right. Well, thanks, Eddie Taylor, for your insights. Thanks for joining Inside AB. Tune in tomorrow for the next edition at 10 a.m. Thanks a lot.